and today I'm going to be talking about the reading slump that I had that lasted at least 3 years. So before I get into like the nitty-gritty of the reading slump itself, I'm going to talk about a little bit about how I was as a reader when I was younger and how it was kind of a big part of my identity. And the thing is when I was really young, I really loved to read. I was a scholastic book fair frequenter. I just really loved books, and getting them for free was great every year as an inner city kid, you know. And if you don't know what scholastic book fair is because you're not American or whatever, I don't know if they do that anymore, but basically every year they allowed kids to go in and pick out a book for free, and also gave you a catalog, and then you could order books as well through the catalog. Do catalogs even exist anymore? I don't know, but that was how a lot of my reading was done when I was a kid. It was really random books. So it was like there used to be this book series which was about animals and like in horror type situations. So like it was like a cat in a crypt, or Tales of a Crypt with a cat. I don't know. It was interesting, and I can't find it anywhere, but I really want it because it was one of my favorite books as a kid. Another book that I still own from that was Things Not Seen by Andrew Clements, and then so like things like that, which is about a boy who becomes invisible for like a week or something. I don't know. It's because of an electric blanket. It's really random books. And then as I got older, my book buying was like random books that I would find in the Dollar Tree, which is really weird. I don't know. And then as a teen, I moved to a new state, and that library system in that state was really good, and is really good. They connected all of the libraries in one county, so if you wanted a book from one place, you could get it, and it was at a different location. They could have it delivered to your location. You could borrow it there and return it there, and it would go back and forth like that. So it's a really good system, and I wish more counties with really small towns would do that because it's really helpful. And so that's how my primary reading has been. And but I was reading all the time, and it was just anything that I could get my hands on, honestly. So like that was like my identity, right? Like I was reading all the time. I was also the writer friend. I wrote throughout my entire school years. A lot of my English teachers have praised my writing, which is like a weird flex, but that's something that happened. And so, you know, like so much of my identity was a part of that, right? And then I became an adult, and I was like still reading. I read and this is around the time that I discovered booktube, 2014 2015, and I liked booktube, and I even made like a couple of videos, and then I self-published a poetry book, which is really embarrassing, but like let's move on. And then I did all these things, and I was like reading. I was like really like excited to read, and then my life just out the window. Everything went out the window. Went through a really bad reading slump, and personal life went haywire, and then I was like, do I even like reading? Do I even like writing? What is this? I don't know. And so like my writing and reading habits completely scattered. I mean, I was writing all the time when I was a teenager, and just out the window. Reading out the window. I don't remember the exact numbers because I'm not a numbers person, but which would you expect me to be? I think I read upwards of 60 books in a year, to like, then it went down to like 40 something, and then it went down to like lower numbers, and I was just like, oops. And this year I've only read 11, which, looking at my reading patterns the last 3 years, like that's really good, but it's also really like, I'm like, I can do more, I want to do more. And so I rejoined book Twitter, and like found like old people, old booktubers who like OGs that I used to watch, and I like followed them, and like I followed some other people, and I like books. I like the book community. I've been in other communities before. I was in the K-pop community. Oh god, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, I still like K-pop, but and you know, so many other things happened, right? Longing though that I was feeling, like I miss reading, I miss writing, I miss the different perspectives, I miss the kind of exploration that happens when you get to jump into like a fantasy series or things like that. I miss it all. I'm like trying not to look at myself, it's really hard. Anyway, because I'm just so interesting. No, yeah, so that's all of the reading slump part, right? And so I was thinking about all of those like how to read more videos that people do. I feel like everyone on booktube has done this at least once, where, you know, you're well-meaning. Everyone is well-meaning when they tell you how to read more because this is what works for them. And you know, it's the usual stuff. Read audiobooks, you know, listen to audiobooks because you can multitask when you listen to audiobooks. I don't listen to audiobooks very much. I'm a very distracted person and I have too short of an attention span for this. I will not pay attention. I will zone out. I am an INFP, okay? If there is nothing catching my attention, I am going to go off and to dreamland and I'm not going to pay attention to what is happening. And so like it's not for me personally. I've listened to some, I keep wanting to say I've read. I keep listening, I mean I've listened to a few. Neil Gaiman's Stardust is the first one that came to my mind, and a few others. Oh, Libra Bray's The Diviners, because because I couldn't get into it in the physical version. It was too daunting of a book to read physically, so I listened to it, and I mean I enjoyed that experience. But audiobooks overall, not totally my personal reading preference, but they're really important and I don't discount them. And so that's like the main one. And to be honest, a lot of it is like learn how to skim read, learn how to read faster, kind of tips and tricks, which is a little, it feels weird because it's like you read it faster, but did you remember the book after? Actual question to people who like skim read, or like what is that? There's a specific word phrasing for people who like fast read. It's like a specific type of reading, and you like, it's purposeful. It's like to see how much you can retain and like how fast you read, and it's like to get people to read quicker so they can read more. And I don't remember what it's called. It's like a thing. Anyway, if you do that, like, do you generally remember what you read after? Do you like remember them? Okay, and so you know, like those are like general tips that people tend to have, and it's helpful-ish, but sometimes it feels a bit, you know, because everyone's situation is different. There's different reasons why you're not reading as useful or not useful as it is, depending on the person. I just feel like for me the best way are these certain things, which is what I'm getting into now. I made a visual TBR based on the books on my Goodreads list, which you can follow me. I'll have the link down below, because do people still use Goodreads? I don't know. So based on, you know, the Goodreads list, which I just, and then I used Goodreads and downloaded the data from there and made an Excel sheet, so now I know what is on my TBRs specifically without having to go into the app all the time, and because I use it on my phone mostly, and also what I read. And it's my read to not read is like pretty even. I have more on my to read list. I think it's at like almost 400, which is like oops. And a lot of those books are really old. Like I added them in 2012, 2014, so it's been a very long time and I just haven't read them yet. Oops. And I'm thinking I'll probably have to start going through my to be read and like get rid of some books because they're old, and or you know, whatever, like months after. So the plan is, because it's July now, is to read at least 5 to 7 books in a month. That's the goal. I don't know if we'll get there because it's the 5th, 6th, and I'm working through one right now. And I just finished one though. Yeah, I just finished a book. So we're working on it. 4 more at the very least. 5 is the minimum that I'm hoping for. I'm not expecting to go past 7. I just don't. And so that's one goal that I'm sort of setting in mind. And the goal is that those 5 to 7 will be different genres. So with the visual TBR, I have it categorized based off of the genre, because that there's like a clear pattern for me of what I want to read or tend to pick up. And also, I think the variation will kind of help with the slumps, you know, like try to push past, like, I'm not in the mood for fantasy, maybe I'll pick up a graphic novel, feminist nonfiction, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know, the world is my oyster, and the oyster is books. What am I saying? And the last motivational tool here is this channel, kind of. So I want to be able to talk about whatever I want to talk about, you know, because books are not my only hobby, but I'm hoping to kind of like say hello to the book community again and talk about books when I want to talk about books, and can't talk about books if I'm not reading them, so that's also why that I'm doing this. I introduced myself in the beginning, but again, my name is Dani. Hi. And if you want to see more of me rambling, you know, subscribe, I guess? Question mark? You don't have to. I will see you next time. Please stay safe. The world is very interesting right now and very unpredictable. So yeah, please stay safe, and I will see you next time. Bye.